Let's talk about what they've done to us. Let's look at these numbers. And in this story at Infowars.com from the Economic Collapse, you can go through each one of them. And actually, in many cases, it's worse than even this writer put down. Okay? Now, in every category that we're going to go over, it was the reverse. The United States was the best, the lowest crime rate, the highest test scores, the longest lived, the lowest infant mortality rate, the lowest levels of cancer. All of that reverse now. This is what the social engineers have done. This is what they've given you, a living death. And then I'll get into all the news in your phone calls. Number one, 20 not-so-good categories that the United States leads the world in. We were once the leader in good things. Now we're the leader in bad things because we're the model, and England's always a close second. In fact, the few areas where we're not number one in bad things, England has just taken the cup because we're under the exact same system. Now, continuing here. This is what we lead in. Is the United States number one? Many Americans take deep pride in their nation and the truth that the U.S. has a lot going for it. The United States has the largest economy in the world. No longer, it's falling to China. The United States also has the most powerful military on the planet. Belongs to the bankers. The United States has produced most of the greatest movies the world has ever seen. That's a mind control program. But the United States is also number one in a lot of categories that are not so great. If we ever want to turn this country around, we need to be very honest with ourselves. We need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and realize that it is not a good thing that we are number one in divorce, drug addiction, debt, obesity, car thefts, murders, and total crimes. We have become a slothful, greedy, decadent nation that is exhibiting signs of advanced decay. Until we understand just how bad our problems really are, we won't be able to come up with the solutions that we need. A lot of people that write articles like this have a deep hatred of America, but that is not the case with me. I love the United States, so do I. I love the American people. We've been under the greatest attack, is why we've become this. America is like an aging, bloated rock star, Elvis, I would add, that has become addicted to a dozen different drugs. America is a shadow of its former self and desperately needs to wake up before it plunges into oblivion. Well, a technocratic hell. If you do not believe that the United States and America is in bad shape, just read the list below. The following 20 are not so good categories the United States leads the world in. Number one, the United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world. The social engineers admit that's why we also have the highest crime rate. These are colleges of crime. The United States is the highest incarceration rate in the world and the largest total prison population of the entire globe, not just in the aggregate. Number two, according to Nation Master, the United States has the highest percentage of obese people in the world. No one denies that. Even though, in many cases, we eat less calories than folks that don't eat GMO. The GMO fries your body. The United States has the highest divorce rate on the globe. First, they started with black folks, making them illegitimate so they could put their men in prison. Now they move on to everyone else. Number four, the United States is tied with the UK for the most hours of television watched per person each week. In number four is the answer to why all this is happening. We'll give you the next 16 straight ahead. Stay with us. Now, continuing here, ladies and gentlemen, I'd gotten to number four. The United States is tied with the UK for the most hours of television watched per person. For young people, it's about 8 hours. For adults, 5 hours, and lower brain waves during those periods. That's why you're zombies. Openly connected to brain degeneration and early onset of Alzheimer-type diseases. You can link through to that. The United States has the highest rate of illegal drug use. Well, of course, they ship it in mass and make it illegal to make it stylish and cool, have Hollywood promote it. Then because it's illegal, money is involved with it, and people think it's cool to take it instead of being a big fat loser taking drugs. People don't take drugs and don't try them if you explain it's a loser thing given the CIA money and the big banks money. So when cops, I'd run into checkpoints, want to search my car for drugs, I just say, listen, pal, I don't use products your bosses ship in here. Now, you'll get your stupid drug dog if you want and have him alert because he gets a biscuit, and we're going to search this car, and then I'm going to sue you afterwards. I don't use your products. Get your illegal checkpoint out of the way. Sickening, sickening, sickening. All right, I'm going to come right back in a moment and finish up the other 13 points. Then I'm going to get into all the other news, and I'm going to go to your phone calls. The toll-free number to join us here today, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231, and we're very close to bringing down the Obama administration on this false flag anti-gun operation. They've been caught with their pants down. Stay with us.
What do you mean I don't support your system? I go to court when
we've got the Mexican national inmate on death row, creates international stir, Obama claiming he can block it even though it violates states' rights. Who needs a stinking constitution? We're going to be going over all of that, and I promise your phone calls. We got plenty of time to get to them. I got some more news I want to hit before we go to calls, then back into news here. But we'll be going to Tate, Scott, Tim, Joe, Mark, and others here in a little while. Continuing with just 20 things the United States leads the world in. Continuing, number 6, there are more car thefts in the United States each year than anywhere else in the world by far. Number 7, there are more reported rapes in the United States each year than anywhere else in the world. There are more reported murders in the United States each year than anywhere else in the world. There are more total crimes in the United States each year than anywhere else in the world. The United States also has more police officers than anywhere else in the world. The United States spends much more on health care as a percentage of GDP than anywhere else on the earth. The United States has more people on pharmaceutical drugs than any other country on the planet. Number 13, the percentage of women taking antidepressants in America is higher than any other country in the world. And by the way, directly linked as part of the cocktail of effects to autism. Women that take the deadly fluoride, chlorine-based chemical weapon brain eaters. Oh, yeah, killing yourself feels good sometimes. The brain has a way of doing that. And, of course, it fries your baby's brain as well. But the wages of the New World Order are death, aren't they? 14, Americans have more student loan debt than anywhere else in the world. 15, just... Now, remember, we were the greatest creditor, the most inventions, winning at the Olympics more than anybody else, just everything number one. Just number one. Germany generally number 2. Japan number 3. America number one in good things. Now we're last in all the industrialized world in all the good things, behind a bunch of third world countries, and number 1 in every horrible thing. Isn't that nice? It's globalism, and don't worry, they've got more of it. It's going to fix everything. In fact, let's get that Brzezinski clip ready. I want to play that in a moment. Ties into this. Americans have more student loan debt than anywhere else in the world. More pornography is created in the United States than anywhere else on the entire globe. 87% is made in the U.S., only 11% is made in the rest of the world. And again, if you look at this, it's not like, oh, porn, I'm freaked out, I can't handle it. It's, they sell it like, oh, you're saying porn's bad because, you're a square. All the scientific studies show porn actually makes you, on average, not get a mate. Makes you not be fulfilled, makes you actually lose your enjoyment of sex. It's the old joke of friends I've had that like to visit topless bars. I don't like it. I don't like being a chump. Plus, I'm married, but I was drugged there in college and stuff, but by friends a few times. The whole topless bar situation. The joke is everybody is attracted to the waitress because she's wearing clothes. The women are walking around half naked, and you're not really interested in them. You're interested in the cute waitress, because you can't see what's going on. I mean, and all the studies show that. It takes your humanity. It takes your sexuality away, and it becomes a simulation of it. And it denigrates women. Oh, notice this whole feminist culture, what women have been reduced to. Cogs and servants of the globalist, the family imploding, disappearing, the taxes going up, the family breaking up, men are servile, arrested development, children on average, women are power crazed, trying to be male, hussies out cougaring for the young males. A society in full retreat, full implosion. Continuing here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to be sit here and be a hypocrite. I've looked at my fair share of Playboys over the years, but the point is, it's not fulfilling, ladies and gentlemen, and it is destructive. Period. Okay, continuing here. And, of course, the pornography gets crazier and crazier and denigrates more and more. And then men expect women to act like that. And it is just destroying society. And people think those women that are involved in pornography are so happy. They're in a hellish situation. The men, the HIV, the drug use, well, continuing here, the wages of the New World Order are death. The United States has the largest trade deficit in the world every single year. Between December 2000 and 2010, the United States ran a total trade deficit of $6.1 trillion. With the rest of the world, and the U.S. has had a negative trade balance every single year since 1976. Number 17, the United States spends 7 times more on the military than any other nation in the planet. In fact, the U.S. military spending is greater than the military spending of China, Russia, Japan, India, and the rest of NATO combined. 18, the United States has far more foreign military bases than any other country. Well, that is the bankers that captured our country do. The United States has the most complicated taxing system in the entire world. Well, that's because the rich guys are exempt. And then the rich guys always promote higher taxes because they suck it out in corporate welfare. Continuing here, number 20, the U.S. has accumulated the biggest national debt that the world has ever seen and is rapidly getting worse. Right now, the U.S. government debt is expanding at a rate of $40,000 per second. So are you convinced that we're in trouble yet? The truth is America has changed. Most of us don't even say hello to our neighbors anymore. In fact, we have become so self-involved that many of us don't even notice when someone around us dies. Just consider the following 2 examples. And it goes through examples, where people can see a cop run over. It happened in Austin, and for an hour drive by and not help them. Or people could see a woman beaten and raped in Toronto a few years ago is one example we covered, and they watched her out of a 3rd and 4th-story building, and the executive said, "Get back to work, don't call the cops, we don't want to be involved," and laughed at her on the ground. And then she later died. And they got a bunch of examples of these. USA Today recently reported on the body of a dead woman that was not found for approximately a year, even though a whole bunch of people worked right past her car where she died. Bank contractors, inspectors, and even a new owner of the foreclosed home walked past the silver Chevy Nova in the garage numerous times before discovering the former homeowner dead on the front seat. An even more shocking case, the CBS affiliate in Boston recently reported that a dead woman was lying on the bottom of a public pool for 2 days while large numbers of people swam right over her. How in the world could something like this possibly happen? This is a public pool, and it just goes on. They didn't find her until she floated to the surface. The guts expand. They rot and blow up like a balloon. And it's not just... This wasn't done by accident. Edward Bernays, all the big propagandists on record, openly wrote books and publicly called you scum and how they were going to get you and how they were going to destroy the family and ha, and how much fun it all is. And so if you'll just go read them talking about their war against you, then you'll know I'm not just telling you this. See, trust but verify. I beg of you, listen to me and check out what I'm telling you. If I tell you cancer's doubled, search it. If I tell you diabetes has doubled the last 10 years, search it. If I tell you antidepressants in all species, whether they're insect or whether they are fish or crustacean or mammal, massive IQ reductions, massive fertility reductions. If I tell you bisphenol A, go look it up, find it. You are under unmitigated, total and complete assault by a bunch of people who can only get away with it if you are not aware of it.